What's going on, people? Today I will be reviewing Iron Man 2 for you guys because I am leading up to the 4K releases of all the Iron Man films and Thor films. And we have our returning director here of Jon Favreau, and this stars Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Sam Rockwell, and Mickey Rourke. This was a movie, in 2010 that I was looking forward to. When the first Iron Man came out, I figured I would just go see it and check it out and see how it was. Turned out to be excellent, and I was hyped for this one. I will just say that the first half of this film is a lot better than the second half. And that is because it really just gave me what I wanted. Downey as Tony Stark, you can't have anybody better in this role. You just can't. He has so much swagger, and you just want to be like him. And right from the start, with the AC/DC playing as he crashes into the Stark Expo, you get your scene for him just to say, "I'm back." And all of that really does work for me. And then on top of that, in this movie, they set up a really compelling dilemma for Tony. The arc reactor in his chest, the palladium, is killing him. And that is something that throughout this movie will feel very real up until a certain point. But that is very good drama. And they literally do play off of it because he starts, thinking about what he wants to do for the rest of his life. And that is literally protecting us rather than run Stark Enterprises. So he hands the reins over to Pepper Potts. And we have Gwyneth Paltrow back here. She, in this movie, I would say, is not the same. And I don't think it's her fault. Really, I just feel like she comes across as kind of a pill in this movie. She's always yelling, "Tony!" And she's just always stuck being the nag because she is the person responsible for running the business. And I just feel like she doesn't do that much of running the business. She just does a whole lot of nagging and getting pissed off at him, and it just isn't that great of a part for her. In the first film, she knew exactly who Tony was. She knew exactly what Tony was going to do before he did it, and she was okay with that. I don't feel like that is carried over to this movie. But don't worry about that, because this movie is going to pick up with just that fun vibe that the original had. And that is largely because of the fact that a lot of the new cast here, not all of them, but a lot of them really fit in well with each other and with the old cast. And that leads me to Justin Hammer here, who is played by Sam Rockwell. He is awesome in this movie. This might be like one of my favorite Sam Rockwell performances. I can't really tell right now just because there are so many of them. I really like him as an actor. And he just brings such sliminess to this role. And, when you think about it, he is just like Tony. A lot of his quips and a lot of his jokes land just as much as Tony's land in this movie. But in the context of what is going on, people just They aren't as into Hammer, and they are constantly putting him down just because he isn't Tony Stark. And that is the only reason that they are not into him as a creator or as a person. And I just really like that dynamic. Tony is always one-upping Justin Hammer, and Hammer should have his chance. I really like Sam Rockwell in this movie, but He will never get his chance as long as Tony has anything to say about it, and I love that whole dynamic in this movie. But of course, you have to have the two villains in this movie because this is Iron Man 2. So you have Whiplash, and he is played by Mickey Rourke. You know, Mickey Rourke is the kind of actor that I really like. He tends to get really deep into his roles and bring a lot of quirks to them. And even though he has kind of fallen off today, I really like seeing him here. And this is when he was on top for that very short period around Sin City, The Wrestler, and this was right after The Wrestler. So, you know, he brings a lot to this role, and this is a very underdeveloped role. I feel like Whiplash is kind of the hanger-on for a lot of this movie, and kind of, you know, pushed off to the side until the end climax because, hey, who else does Iron Man battle? He can't battle Justin Hammer. He has to battle somebody that's worthy, and that would be Whiplash. But I love the very fake Russian accent that yeah, you know, Mickey Rourke brings to this. It's comical for me. You know, I don't take it seriously. On top of that, he is involved with one of the best action scenes in Marvel Cinematic history, and the best one for a very long time when this film came out. It is so good that I actually have a pop figure that I can show you guys, and that is the Formula One racing fight, and it is awesome. Specifically the Mark V. That is the briefcase Iron Man suit. I love the way that this suit looks. It is my favorite Iron Man suit of all time. This scene is just the pinnacle of this movie. It will never get better than this. Unfortunately for Iron Man 2, it really drops the ball on a lot of the more interesting issues that this movie wants to address at the beginning half of the movie. Tony's blood toxicity, Tony being reckless, and Rhodey stealing one of his suits. All of that really is clunky and very shoehorned into this movie. It's not organic at all. And in the matter of fact, a large portion of the second half of this movie just feels so unorganic. It really hurts it. You also have the addition of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, or Natasha Romanoff. I don't really feel like she has a good grasp on the character at this point in time. She will. I love her in Avengers. But here, I feel like she's kind of feeling things out, and she just doesn't come across as confident in her shoes in this film. And she really does stick out as a character just because she is here to introduce the many clunky, shoehorned in elements of the Avengers in this movie, and it just does not play. I wanted to see a better resolution of conflicts that they introduced at the beginning half of this movie that were really interesting, but those just seemed solved so easily in this film just to get into, hey, we're leading up to Avengers. Don't you want us to lead up to Avengers? And that is what happens for about half an hour into this movie until you get to the end climax. And it kills this movie. And for that, I am going to give this a 7 out of 10. I still have a lot of fun watching this movie. I can't wait to see it in 4K. But it has its issues. So coming up next on the channel, just because I am doing all of these reviews chronologically as they came out. So next is the first Thor, the mighty Thor. So if you guys are excited about that, comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought of Iron Man 2, and Hey, why don't you tell me the 4K release that you are most excited about that is coming out on August 13th as far as Marvel goes? There is a whole lot of them coming out. So tell me which one you are looking forward to the most. And, as always, thank you for watching my videos. You guys are awesome. I don't even say it because you know it. And I will see all of you next time.